How did Maroon communities form unique Creole cultures? Imagine escaping into the wilderness, forging a new life from the reach of colonial powers. That's how many Maroon communities started, as groups of enslaved Africans ran away and built their own societies. These communities often settled in remote, hard-to-access places like mountains, swamps, and forests across the Americas, including the Caribbean, Central America, South America, and parts of the southeastern United States. When these groups first came together, they brought with them a mix of languages, customs, and traditions from different parts of Africa. Many of these Africans had been taken from different regions, so they spoke various languages and practiced different cultural ways. Living in new environments, they had to adapt quickly. Over time, they blended their African traditions with influences from indigenous peoples and Europeans they encountered. This process, called creolization, created entirely new cultures that were neither purely African nor European but a mixture of both. Language played a big role in shaping their new identities. Some Maroon communities developed their own Creole languages by mixing European languages like English, Spanish, or French with African languages. For example, in Suriname, Maroons created Saramaccan, a language that reflected their unique position between African and European worlds. In other places, they adopted creolized versions of European languages, which helped different groups communicate and work together as one community. These languages weren't just practical, they became symbols of their independence and cultural pride. Building their own societies meant creating new ways of governing and organizing their lives. Maroons developed systems for resolving disputes, managing resources, and protecting their communities from colonial attacks. They built social structures that honored their African roots but also adapted to their new surroundings. This included developing skills like farming, hunting, and crafting tools, often combining knowledge from indigenous peoples with their own African traditions. In places like the southeastern United States and the Caribbean, Maroons learned to read tidal patterns, navigate waterways, and understand local plants, which helped them survive and thrive. In Jamaica, Maroon communities became especially distinct over time. They signed treaties with British authorities in the 1700s, which recognized their semi-autonomous status and gave them land. These agreements helped solidify their unique cultures, which included music, dance, and spiritual practices that mixed African, Caribbean, and European elements. Leaders like Cudjo Nanny and Kwao helped shape their communities' identities, each developing their own cultural expressions while maintaining ties to their African roots. Maroon communities also mixed with indigenous peoples, creating new cultural identities like the Garifuna and the Mascogos. These groups combined African, European, and indigenous traditions, resulting in unique languages, music, and customs. Their resistance to colonial rule was more than just fighting. It was about preserving their way of life. They used guerrilla tactics, occupied remote lands, and refused to submit, which strengthened their sense of community and independence. Across the Americas, Maroons showed how enslaved Africans could turn their struggles into cultural strength. They created new worlds that honored their origins while adapting to their new realities. These Creole cultures are acts of resilience and resistance, built on the hope of freedom and the desire to maintain their humanity. Their stories reminded us of the power of cultural survival and the enduring spirit of those who refuse to be broken by slavery.